This is Mamuni. Thank you so much for being Amar Baba Ma. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Did you know a big update has come regarding the tax system? Now you must be wondering what are the key changes in new income tax bill 2025, right? No worries. In this video, I'm going to tell you what are the key changes, rather what changed and what remains unchanged. So, let's get started. A simplified income tax bill 2025 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on 13 February 2025 by the Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. The Income Tax Bill 2025, once enacted, will replace the 64 years old Income Tax Act of 1961, which has become bulky over time with its traditional style of drafting and numerous amendments. The new Income Tax Bill 2025 will become law once it is passed by both houses of parliament, followed by the assent of the President of India. It will be known as Income Tax Act 2025 and not Direct Tax Code 2025. The Income Tax Act 2025 will replace the Income Tax Act of 1961, bringing much needed reforms, simplification, reducing litigation and modernization to India's tax system. Now let's go through the key changes. Number 1. Introduction of the tax year concept. The new Income Tax Bill 2025 introduces a unified concept of the tax year, replacing both the previous year and assessment year in India's tax system. So, the Income Tax Bill 2025 replaces the term previous year and assessment year with tax year, which is now aligned with the financial year. It is a 12-month period that begins on 1st April and ends on 31st March of the following year. The new Income Tax Bill 2025 will not align with the calendar year as the tax year. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, the year in which income is earned is called as previous year, and the year in which the income is charged to tax or assessed and taxed is called an assessment year. For example, the income earned by a salaried employee in the financial year 2025-26 will fall under the assessment year 2026-27. While filing income tax, the salaried employee needs to choose assessment year 2026-27 and all the related forms and notices will be accordingly. Let's take another example. If a taxpayer receives a tax default notice for assessment year 2024-25, it concerns the income earned in the financial year 2023-24. Understood? Now let's take the third example. The income earned by a pensioner between 1st April 2024 and 31st March 2025 falls under the previous year 2024-25. So, the assessment year is the year in which the pensioner files his taxes for the previous financial year. So, in this case, the assessment year will be 2025-26. So, these two terms often confused not only taxpayers but even students especially beginners. Under the new tax system, the tax year is the same as the year in which the income is earned and it will be taxed accordingly. Since the tax year replaces both previous year and assessment year, making tax filing easier because the taxpayers can easily file taxes after the tax year ends without needing to refer to two different years. So, this change aims to make tax calculations more straightforward. Please note, under the new tax system, number 1, if you start a new business in the middle of a financial year, your tax year begins from the date your business starts and ends on 31st March. Number 2, if you earn income from a new source like a new investment or rental property, the tax year for that income starts from the date the income begins. Number 2, financial year. Taxpayers should note that the definition of the financial year remains intact. That is, financial year remains unchanged. It will continue to run from 1st April to 31st March of the following year rather than adopting a calendar year format. So, tax year can be defined as a financial year beginning on the first day of April and ending on the 31st day of March of the following year. Number 3. Changes in sections. There will be a change in section numbering under the new Income Tax Bill 2025. For example, under the current Income Tax Act 1961, income tax return filing is covered under Section 139 and the new tax regime is covered under Section 115 BAC. The new Income Tax Bill 2025 will change the ITR filing section to 263 and the new tax regime to 202. Now the taxpayers might find it difficult to find corresponding sections between Income Tax Act 1961 and Income Tax Act Bill 2025, right? No worries. Relax. Income taxpayers can now easily compare sections of the Income Tax Act 1961 with corresponding clauses in the new Income Tax Bill 2025 through an online utility provided by the tax department, and also section to section mapping as per Income Tax Act 1961 and section number as per new Income Tax Bill has been uploaded on the Income Tax Department's website for public access. Number 4. Simplified structure. There has been a significant reduction in the text of the new Income Tax Bill 2025 in comparison to the existing Income Tax Act 1961. The new Income Tax Bill 2025 is small in size and simple. The following table represents the changes made in overall layout in the new Income Tax Bill 2025. Now let's compare the current Income Tax Act 1961 with the new Income Tax Bill 2025. The current Income Tax Act 1961 has 298 sections, whereas the new Income Tax Bill 2025 has 536 sections. Now the question arises, how come the number of sections in the new Income Tax Bill 2025 has increased to 536 sections compared to 298 sections in the Income Tax Act 1961? Isn't the new Income Tax Bill 2025 supposed to be small in size? The Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the Income Tax Act was enacted in 1961 and it had 298 sections, which with time went up to 819 sections, while the new Income Tax Bill 2025 was bringing them to 536 sections. She also said one should compare the new Income Tax Bill 2025 with the Income Tax Act 1961, where it stands at present, instead of where it was in 1961. Please note, while the existing Income Tax Act 1961 contains 298 numbered sections, effective sections in the current Act are 819. This is because, other than numeric section numbers, there are a large number of sections with alphanumeric codes such as 115A to 115WM, 117 sections, and so on. The Income Tax Act not only deals with levy of tax, but it is a comprehensive document which encompasses all aspects of tax administration. We have finished comparing the number of sections. Now let's compare the number of chapters. The current Income Tax Act 1961 has 47 chapters, whereas the new Income Tax Bill 2025 has 23 chapters. Now let's compare the number of schedules. The current Income Tax Act 1961 has 14 schedules, whereas the new Income Tax Bill 2025 has 16 schedules. Now let's compare the number of pages. The current Income Tax Act 1961 has 823 pages, whereas the new Income Tax Bill 2025 has 622 pages. Now let's compare the number of words. The current Income Tax Act 1961 has 5,12,535 words, whereas the new Income Tax Bill 2025 has 2,59,676 words. Now let's compare the number of tables. The current Income Tax Act 1961 has 18 tables, whereas the new Income Tax Bill 2025 has 57 tables. Now let's compare the number of formulae. The current Income Tax Act 1961 has 6 formulae, whereas the new Income Tax Bill 2025 has 46 formulae. Please note, in the new Income Tax Bill 2025, extensive use of tables and formulae for enhanced clarity. Besides, redundant provisions including 1200 provisos and 900 explanations of the Income Tax Act 1961 have been removed. Subsections and clauses have been used instead of relying on provisos and explanations for exceptions and curve outs. In case you don't know, redundant sections or redundant provisions or provisos refer to parts of a document, system, or code that essentially repeat the same information multiple times. That is, duplication of information, making them unnecessary. Number 5. Virtual digital assets, that is VDAS. Recently, digital transactions have increased significantly, leading to the rise of digital assets and income earned online. As a result, virtual digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, are now classified as assets under the tax regime. This means virtual digital assets are taxed alongside other assets such as property, jewelry, and shares in the new Income Tax Bill 2025. Number 6. Tax audits. The scope of tax audits continues to be carried out by chartered accountants, that is CA, sorry company secretaries, that is CS, and cost accountants, that is CMA. You people are not included in this capacity for tax audits in the new Income Tax Bill 2025. Number 7. LTCG and STCG. Long-term capital gains, that is LTCG, and short-term capital gains, that is STCG tax rules largely remain the same with no major changes compared to the previous year unless otherwise specified in the budget 2025. Number 8. Effective date of the new Income Tax Bill 2025. The new Income Tax Act 2025 will likely come into effect on 1st April 2026. So the taxpayers of India still need to adhere or follow to the current Income Tax Act 1961 for the financial years ending 31st March 2025 and 31st March 2026. Number 9. No adjustments to ITR deadlines or tax slabs or tax rates. As previously announced in Budget 2025, there will be no alterations or changes to income tax return filing deadlines or ITR filing deadlines or the existing income tax slabs and rates in the new Income Tax Bill 2025. Number 10. No changes in the new tax regime and the old tax regime. It is important to note that as per the Union Budget 2025, salaried individuals earnings up to rupees 12 lakh annually do not have to pay income tax, that is 12 lakh no tax or no tax up to 12 lakhs under the new tax regime due to tax rebate under section 87A, and the standard deduction remains unchanged at rupees 75,000 in the new Income Tax Bill 2025, and tax exemption up to rupees 4 lakh remains unchanged under the new tax regime. The new Income Tax Bill 2025 has not proposed any change in tax rates and tax slabs applicable to taxpayers in India, and there will be no change in the old tax regime. It is still available while the new tax regime is the default, and the old tax regime remains an option. As previously announced in Budget 2025, there will be no alterations or changes to marginal relief under Section 87A. As we know, marginal relief provides much needed relief and ensures that those earning marginally or slightly over rupees 12 lakh don't face an unfair tax burden for small increase in income. Taxpayers can claim marginal relief up to a total income of rupees 12 lakh 70,587 because rupees 12 lakh 70,588 being the break-even point where total tax liability as per slab equates with the income exceeding rupees 12 lakhs. The total income till which marginal relief is available is rupees 12 lakh 70,587. If the total income exceeds rupees 12 lakh 70,587, marginal relief will no longer be applicable and the taxpayers will be subject to the regular tax slabs. Number 11. 5 heads of income. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, the income chargeable to tax is classified under 5 different heads of incomes. It was expected that there could be a change in the heads of income, but the new tax bill 2025 mentions no change in heads of income. They are retained as follows. Number 1, income from salaries. Number 2, income from house property. Number 3, income from profits and gains of business or profession. Number 4, income from capital gains. Number 5, income from other sources. Number 12, tax exemptions under Section 10 of Income Tax Act 1961. Tax exemptions under Section 10 of Income Tax Act 1961 covered separately in Income Tax Bill 2025. Section 10 of the Income Tax Act, which provides for exemption of certain income such as agricultural income, share of profit from partnership firm, family pension, scholarships, certain interest on NRE or FCNR deposits, short stay, exemption, etc. has now been covered separately in Schedule 2 to Schedule 7 of Income Tax Bill in a tabular format. Number 13. Simplified TDS compliance. All TDS, that is tax deducted at source related regulations, will be consolidated under a single clause with straightforward tables for better comprehension or understanding. So, this consolidation may require significant updates to forms and reporting utilities post implementation. Number 14. TDS and TCS provisions consolidated in a tabular manner. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, there are many sections such as 194A interest, 194I rent, 194J professional fees, fees for technical services, royalty payment, 194H commission, 194C contracts, etc. Most of the sections had similar provisions except for the applicable tax rates, thresholds, etc. Under the Income Tax Bill, that is ITB, the issue of overlapping and almost similar provisions of TDS, that is tax deducted at source, has been addressed by covering the TDS provisions except salaries under section 393 of the ITB in a concise and tabular manner. Further, the provisions of TDS on salary contained in section 192 of the ITA, that is Income Tax Act, has been covered in section 392 of the ITB, that is Income Tax Bill. Similarly, the provisions of TCS, that is tax collected at source, contained in section 206C of the Income Tax Act has been covered in a tabular manner in section 394 of the Income Tax Bill for ease of reference. Number 15. Salaried employees. All salary related provisions have been consolidated in one place for easier understanding, so taxpayers no longer need to refer to separate chapters when filing their income tax return. Previously, deductions allowed under Section 10 of the Income Tax Act 1961, such as gratuity, leave encashment, commutation of pension, compensation for VRS, retrenchment compensation, are now included in the salary chapter. Some allowances like HRA are now listed in Schedule 2 of the new bill, which is referenced in the salary provisions. The goal was to improve readability by including tables and formulas. While the chargeability of all parks remains in the Act, their valuation, conditions, and exceptions have been moved to rules as they do not apply to every taxpayer. Number 16. Residential status. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, taxpayers are classified into three categories. Number 1. Resident and ordinarily resident, that is ROR. Number 2. Resident but not ordinarily resident, that is RNOR. Number 3. Non-resident, that is NR. The new Income Tax Bill 2025 indicates that there is no change in residential status or laws. Number 17. Presumptive taxation. Presumptive taxation, which allows small businesses and professionals to pay tax on a fixed percentage of their income, has also been expanded. The turnover limit for businesses eligible under this scheme has been increased from rupees 2 crore to rupees 5 crore. For professionals, the limit has been increased from rupees 50 lakh to rupees 75 lakh. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your precious time. I sincerely hope this was helpful.